What's up, everybody on YouTube? AJ Rez back here with another video, and today we'll be recapping Week 5 of the 2022 NFL season. This past week had a lot of different type of matchups, and really, honestly, I just want to go on and get into them. We can start with the mid games for sure. Talking about last Thursday night's game, oh my gosh, that was a definition of mid. The Colts and the Denver Broncos. That game was a field goal fest as the Colts won 12-9, improving to 2-2-1, and now the Broncos are 2-3. The Broncos have been so disappointing so far this season. So many mismanagement on calls. Rookie year head coach Nathaniel Hackett, I guess, struggling to connect with his team overall right now. I mean, I can't put too much on him, but also Russell Wilson. I mean, it just doesn't seem like he's playing as efficiently as everyone thought he would. So I don't know, but like I said, I'm tired of talking about a mid game right now. Let's go and talk about some better games. Right now, we can talk about the most recent NFL Week 5 game between the Chiefs and the Las Vegas Raiders. Of course, an individual matchup, and there was some questionable calls called. Like, for example, Chandler Jones sacking Derek Carr. That was crazy. They called roughing the passer on that, and there was also a similar call on Sunday in the Atlanta Falcons game against Tampa Bay, but we'll talk about that one later. But talking about the Chiefs and the Raiders, bro, like, that was a crazy game in terms of how Herculean the Chiefs were coming back, and of course the greatness of Patrick Mahomes. They were down 17-0 at one point, and then at halftime they were down 20-10, and then they ended up coming back. Travis Kelce connecting with Patrick Mahomes, of course, as you know, a dynamic duo, best tight end in the league in my opinion, and they ended up winning that game and coming back. Like, it's crazy. Like, the Chiefs, they, sometimes it just seems like they're not trying. Like, they don't have their gas pedal all the way on, but when they put it on, they put the switch on for real. Speaking of roughing the passer, there was obviously a controversial call between the Bucs and the Atlanta Falcons. Obviously, the Bucs won that game 21-15, which I feel like they should have won that game by more. So there's a lot of question marks with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we'll see how that transpires throughout the season. But that call was terrible, man. Like I said earlier, there was a controversial roughing the passer call between the Chiefs and the Raiders, and then the Bucs and the Falcons. So I don't know what's going on with the league, man. You got to do more with the defenders. Obviously, the league tries to protect the quarterbacks and everything like that because the quarterbacks are the stars of the game. But you got to be fair, man. Like, we can't just play two-hand touch nowadays. But yeah, the Bucs won that game, and obviously maybe that wouldn't have changed the result of the game that much if they didn't call it. But still, like, we got to be fair. In Week 5, there was a London game between the New York Giants and the Green Bay Packers, and the Green Bay Packers actually lost that game to the Giants. The Giants improved to 4-1, winning 27-22 over the Packers, and the Packers had a substantial lead in the game for the most part, but the Giants came back. Saquon Barkley has been balling. He's been hooping, putting up numbers. Not hooping, but you know what I mean. But, they're 4-1 now, and the NFC East is looking pretty good right now. Obviously, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're undefeated 5-0. Dallas Cowboys are 4-1, and now the Giants are 4-1. So things have changed quickly because everyone knew the NFC East as the NFC least, but things have definitely changed. And there's a lot of questions for the Green Bay Packers. I'm going to speed through a couple of games right here. So surprisingly, the New York Jets beat the Miami Dolphins 40-17. Now, obviously, the Dolphins, they don't have Tua, and Terry Bridgewater was actually hurt in this game, went out with a concussion as well, just like Tua suffered in the week before. So that's pretty tough for them. So we'll see how the Dolphins things go, but hopefully they'll get healthy at some point. But the Jets, they are looking better. This is the best they've looked in a while. Since, I remember them being solid with Mark Sanchez when he was young, when I was 7. But, hey, props to him. They have Sauce Gardner and a lot of different people like that. So, shout out to the Jets, and shout out Mike Greenberg, one of my favorite ESPN analysts. I know he's happy for sure. The Tennessee Titans beat the Washington Commanders 21-17. I actually caught the end of that game, and Carson Wentz threw a signature interception at the end. So, not really surprised about that. The Titans have been playing way better after starting off slow earlier this year. So, it's looking like they may end up winning the AFC, South, I believe it is, with the Jaguars, the Texans, and the Colts, which we figured they should before the season, so we'll see how that goes. Speaking of the AFC South, the Houston Texans finally got their first win against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 13-6. Definitely a boring and low-scoring game, but being from Houston, I guess shout out to the Texans. I really don't like them because their fans are very obnoxious, but hey, shout out to them. They're now 1-3-1, so hey, shout out to them. The Jaguars, I feel like they were looking better, but I don't know. They did not look good in that past game. Trevor Lawrence, he didn't look the best, but I still believe in him. I still think he's going to be a really good quarterback, so shout out Trevor Lawrence. But, yeah, the Texans got that win, and then the Browns and the Chargers edged out that win 30-28. Chargers are now 3-2, and now the Browns are 2-3. And really, there's a controversial call called by Brandon Staley. Basically, in the fourth quarter, he went for it on fourth down, and the Browns really could have won the game, but they missed a field goal. So, because they could have easily won. If they made the field goal, they would have been 31-30, and they would have won the game. But yeah, the Chargers won that game, so that's how things went there. A few more we could just jump through real quick. The Bills demolished the Pittsburgh Steelers 38-3, man. Hey, the Steelers, this is the worst I've seen them look in my 20 years of life so far. Now, obviously, Mike Tomlin has been one of the best coaches in the league his whole tenure in Pittsburgh, but, I mean, sometimes it's hard to coach teams that don't have the best rosters, so we'll see how that goes. I think Kenny Pickett will be a solid quarterback, but I think he still needs the time to, just sit back and learn because, I don't know, there's a lot going on in Pittsburgh. But, hey, the Bills, like I said, they're my AFC favorite to make it to the Super Bowl this year, so we'll see what happens there. Then the Saints beat the Seahawks 39-32. A solid scoring game. The Seahawks will look solid without Russell Wilson. We don't need to talk about Denver because we already talked about them earlier. But the Seahawks, they've been respectable. They're 2-3, so yeah. And then the Saints, they won this game, and now they're 2-3 as well. So we'll see how things goes. Hopefully, when Jameis is back for them, like for sure, hopefully he can just make good plays and not make too many errors or too many YOLO passes. Just play solid. You know what I'm saying? So, and then the next game, the Vikings and the Chicago Bears, another in-division game rivalry. I mean, not too much to say. The Vikings did what they were supposed to do. They're now 4-1. They beat them 29-22 to beat the Bears. And, yeah, I mean, not too much to say about those two teams. I really don't have a lot to say. I mean, Kirk Cousins, yeah, cool, I guess. And then Justin Fields, I mean, I still believe in Justin Fields as well. It's just like the Chicago Bears, they always set their quarterbacks up for failure, man. So I just hope at some point he'll get a good offensive line. The 49ers killed the Carolina Panthers 37-15, which ended up having Carolina fire their third-year head coach, Matt Rule. So a lot of things going on there. Obviously, Baker Mayfield, acquired from the Cleveland Browns, is there now. I don't know. I feel like they just need to rebuild and just retool a lot of things. I saw a rumor about potentially Christian McCaffrey at some point getting interest from the Buffalo Bills for a trade. So that would be crazy. Imagine the Buffalo Bills having Christian McCaffrey, too, as a running back with Stephon Diggs, Josh Allen. Oh, my gosh. And then Von Miller on the defensive end. Oh, my goodness. That would be so scary. But, yeah, and then the 49ers, they're looking like the team that we know them to be, of course, Deebo Samuel, one of the best skill players, best receivers, running backs, whatever you want to call him, a hybrid back in the league. He's really good, man. And then Jimmy G, I mean, obviously, he came back in for Trey Lance, and Trey Lance got hurt. But, I mean, he's a solid quarterback regardless. He's a great game manager. I think potentially the best game manager in the league. So, I mean, you got to give your props to the 49ers. They always keep a solid team, and they have a pretty good defense as well. As I mentioned earlier, the Philadelphia Eagles were able to stay undefeated. They beat the Arizona Cardinals 20-17. Jalen Hurts continues to look like the most improved player in the NFL so far. If there was a war for that in the NFL like there is in the NBA, it would be his unanimously, like easily. And then next Sunday, we're going to be in a huge treat as the Philadelphia Eagles are going to play against the Dallas Cowboys, two divisional rivals, one of the best rivalries in the NFL and NFL history. And we're going to see who's really about that life. That Dallas Cowboys defense is super scary. And then the Philadelphia Eagles, their defense is scary as well, but also their offense and just how they've been playing and clicking on all cylinders. And, and the Cardinals, I mean, I feel like they're still going to be good. I think they'll still make the playoffs, whether they win a division or, make a wild card round. There's a questionable call as Kyler Murray, he slid instead of, just diving for a first down, but hey, it is what it is. I mean, it's week 5, going to be week 6 soon. I mean, it's a long season. 2 more games we got to talk about. Obviously, I mentioned the Dallas Cowboys. They beat the LA Rams 22-10 on Sunday. The Cowboys improved to being 4-1, and now the Rams are 2-3. And hey, that Cowboys defense, like I said earlier, is for real. They have so much talent on the front four. Their defensive backs are scary. Like, they are locked down for sure. Like, it's crazy to see. Like, in my life, I haven't seen the Cowboys defense be this devastating. Like, you can tell offenses and teams are scared. Like, they do not want to play against them. So it's going to be great next Sunday night to see them play against the Philadelphia Eagles. We are in store for a treat, most definitely. I mean, the winner of that game is basically in the driver's seat to win a division, So that's going to be really good. Micah Parsons continues to look like the defensive player of the year. DeMarcus Lawrence, one of the best defensive players as well. Dorrance Armstrong, a lot of great players. Trayvon Diggs, even though he lets up yards sometimes, he still makes up for it. So, hey, it's going to be a great game. Cooper Rush is managing the game well. Whenever Dak comes back, you can only imagine, as long as they play physical football still, running the ball, giving it to Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott, going through Noah Brown, going through CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup. I mean, hey, a lot of things are possible. So we'll see what happens. And then talking about the Rams, man, I don't know. Matthew Stafford, I mean, he was just getting ate alive against that Cowboys defense, which a lot of quarterbacks are. So we'll see what happens in L.A., but man, the Cowboys definitely wandered to LA. Last game we got to talk about is a matchup between the Cincinnati Bengals and the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens won that game 19-17. Shout out to the GOAT kicker of all time, Justin Tucker, winning the game for the Baltimore Ravens. A good matchup between Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, two of the best young quarterbacks in the league. I remember a lot of people were saying that Joe Burrow is better last year just because, they made it to the Super Bowl, so obviously people will think that, but I still think Lamar clears him for sure. I think Lamar, I think he's still on track to potentially win MVP. He just got to keep hooping, and then their defense just has to keep supporting him because, he's going to ball out regardless, I think. So we'll see what happens there. That was a low-scoring game, but Baltimore still prevailed and won, and I think they're going to end up winning the division still, even when Deshaun Watson returns for the Browns. Y'all let me know in the comments down below how your team is doing, how your favorite team is doing, what you think of this series overall, and some of your predictions for the NFL season going forward. If you're pleased with how things are going, some of the rules that are going on, like I said, the roughing the passer has been very controversial. So let me know in the comments down below what you think about the season so far. I appreciate y'all watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Swaggy Russ. Also follow me on TikTok at SwaggyRuss02. Y'all be blessed. I appreciate y'all always. We're almost close to 1,000, man. I'm so happy. I'm so hyped. And just stay tuned for more, man. We're going to keep going for sure. So y'all be blessed.